Sciwheel, and how can you manage your references with Sciwheel. So we're going through to all the process about from discovery to collaboration, writing your research. And I hope a few tips and what you present about the product will be useful for you. And I think we'll address a few things that you mentioned on the Mentimeter, things about styles, things about the volume of literature, the things that we can't diminish them, can reduce that, but we can deal with that. So my name is João Pérez. Like Daniela mentioned, I'm the head of product for Sciwheel, and also we have with us Chris Smith as our product specialist. And we're going to share the presentation between us. So very quickly, so it's quite a short agenda. So I'll start with an introduction about referencing and about Sciwheel. Then Chris will show you around the product Sciwheel, and then we'll finish with questions and answers. So during the presentation, please keep adding questions to our Q&A section, and after we're going to try to address them all in the end. So Sciwheel. So we are a reference manager. We're a bit more than that, as you're going to see. And last July, we were acquired by technology from Sage. So this is a division from Sage that tries to bring innovation to the market and innovation to you guys. And we're really happy with the possibilities that this opens to us. And also because it's quite a good fit for us, because as you can see here, so one of the goals that we have is to make learning and research easier. And that's what Sciwheel is about, is to make learning and research easier for you and to support you along your process. So what is Sciwheel? So Sciwheel is a web-based platform. So all the data is stored on the cloud. So that means that you don't need to carry a USB stick or email reference to you when you go from your office to home or to your lab. So everything can be accessed all the time from anywhere, from any device, as long as you have a internet connection. It supports researchers and students through each stage of the academic writing process. And I'll go a bit more in detail about what we consider this writing process. And all of this is to save you time, to allow you to collaborate easily and to work more efficiently. So what is this writing process? So when we are developing Sciwheel, and both me and Chris, we are part of the team since kind of long time ago. We always focus in these pillars. So we found them because they're really important for a student and for a researcher. I myself was a researcher in the past, and a lot of things that we developed resonate with me, and I make sure that we kept that in the heart of Sciwheel. So, and of course, this process is not linear. So we don't start with collect and finish in writing. So you do all of these things at the same time, but for our sake, I put this in this order. So you start to collect. So you're going around, you're on Twitter, you're on a journal website, you receive an email with a reference, want to make that easy to collect all the reference. So as you go along, searching, or just because you find one, you can easily add that to Sciwheel, and you add to a single place. You keep all your references in a single place so you can easily find it after. Once you have all the references, you need to organize. So what Sciwheel gives you is tools to be able to put in projects, to put in sub-projects, to add tags, and do a powerful search. And this allows you that, okay, you have the articles, you have the articles, now you know where they are, and you can find them easily just by using a combination of this. And as someone mentioned, as a challenge that people have currently, it's about how much articles are published every single day. And from this amount, this pile of articles published, a few will be very relevant to your topic and to your research. So what we have with Discover, we suggest new relevant research, new relevant articles that we find that you want to read. And this is based what you already collect. Everything you have in your library, we analyze and think, okay, so what's the articles, similar articles are being published today that you might want it. So we present to you, and it just makes your life easier to trying to read the abstract and say, yes, I want to keep this one. Next, you read. You need to read. You need to read to spark ideas. You need to read to know what's going on in your field. So Sciwheel supports you that by gives a very nice tools that you're going to see later that Chris will show you to highlight, to take notes. And because Sciwheel makes that notes searchable, it's no more, oh, I know I have an article about this. I don't know which one is. Just search it. You search what you wrote, you search what you highlighted, and you can find it that easily inside of Sciwheel. And also, next, you need to share it. So a lot of times you work by yourself, it's your personal project, but a lot of times you need to share with a friend, oh, what you think about this article, or you having a team and you want to keep everybody in the same page. So you create a project, everybody can add articles that they feel that's important to that everybody knows, and that saves time. So you don't need to not everybody needs to find the same article multiple times. So you share that knowledge across people. And also sharing the articles, you also can share discussions. So we bring the discussion inside of the article. So you and your collaborators can highlight, I don't know, what you think about this. People can reply. And that makes things faster and makes you save time on the process. And in the end, you need to cite them. So you collect the articles you found as a start that you found, okay, this is important for my project. You organize them so you can find them when you need. You discover new articles was published in this subject. You read them, you take notes, you annotate, you share, you discuss with your friends. Now you need to cite. So we support both citations in Microsoft Word and Google Docs. And what Sciwheel does for you is just brings that citation inside of the next to your document, brings the notes next to your document, and you just can tell your story, find your reference, cite, and we do the rest. We don't worry about the style. You just need to choose the style, click it, we format the citation, we create a bibliography, and next week you decide, oh no, I need to submit to another journal. You go back, you change the style, and we update everything automatically. So everything works smoothly, and it does this boring job that is before was that manually you introduced the citations and create bibliography. Does everything automatically for you. And this is the core proposal of Sciwheel. So it helps you to collect, organize, discover, read, share, and cite work, and to save you time and to make your life easier. So this very quickly, because I want you to show that you see what is Sciwheel working. So next I'll pass to Chris. So he's going to take you through the product and touch in all of these bits in his presentation. And let me stop sharing and mute myself.
Perfect. Thank you for that, João. So welcome, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Chris. I am the product specialist for Sciwheel. I've been working on Sciwheel for the past bit over 7 years or so. So what I'm going to do is take you through a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the Sciwheel website and tools, and try and kind of demonstrate practical examples of the things João was just talking about before. So I'm going to share my screen with you all now. Okay, and hopefully you can all see a Sciwheel screen. Just to move my little Zoom menu out of the way here. Okay. So hopefully you can all see my Sciwheel screen. So a bit of an introduction to Sciwheel generally. So as João mentioned, it is purely cloud-based, so everything's stored in the cloud, which means there's no clunky kind of software to install on computers or anything like that. It means you can access it from anywhere where you have an internet connection. So Sciwheel, it's comprised of a few main sections. So what we're seeing here is the main web interface. This is the backbone of Sciwheel, essentially. This is where you'll be collecting and organizing your references, tagging, highlighting, all of that kind of stuff. So this is the main interface where most of the work is going to get done in Sciwheel. We do also have a little dashboard section here. When that loads, so when you start having some activity in Sciwheel, when you've got some projects and references, notes, all of that kind of thing happening, this will give you a general overview of the most recently active projects. So it's just a quick bird's eye, what's the most recent thing happening in my Sciwheel account. You can just quickly see what's going on in each of your most actively or recently active projects. There's also a quick trending in your area section, a little algorithm that just analyzes articles that other Sciwheel users in your field of study are kind of looking at and interacting with, just to sort of surface some sort of popular articles that you may be interested in, and a kind of aggregate of our article suggestions from all of your projects. I will get into suggestions in a bit more detail a bit further down the track. So that's our dashboard. When you first sign up for an account, probably not that useful, but very useful once you start having some activity, just as a bird's eye view of what's going on in the account. So we'll switch back to our references view now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a quick kind of tour of the basic interface of the Sciwheel website. Then we'll go into the Sciwheel browser extension, which is used for importing and annotating articles. And then we'll switch over to the Word add-in for citing, and we'll cover a little bit of the kind of collaborative aspect of Sciwheel in there as well. So thank you everyone for contributing to the Mentimeter, and also for those of you that submitted questions beforehand. Hopefully a lot of those pre-submitted questions I'll be covering kind of within the course of this demo. And anything that's not covered, or if there's anything you'd like clarified, just drop a note in the Q&A chat and we'll try and cover that at the end of the session. So first things first, the basic Sciwheel web interface. So as you can see here, we'll just go from the kind of left-hand side and take you through some of the basic features. We have an import references button here, fairly self-explanatory. It will give you various options for kind of quickly and easily importing references from various sources, PDFs from local storage or cloud storage devices, various sources. You can import reference files, direct identifier import, creating references manually should you need to. So a few different options for importing references there. And going down this left-hand side, we have our all references section, which, as the name would suggest, is where all of the references that you've imported into Sciwheel live. So these are all of the references, regardless of whether or not they're sorted into projects. We have a couple of different tabs here. This unsorted, you can easily find the references that you don't have in projects in case they kind of need further sorting. And we also have a little incomplete tab here. So this tab will highlight any references that you've imported where we flag the metadata is a little bit, needs some kind of tweaking and completing. It's just a bit of a warning that if you were to cite this in a document, maybe a citation wouldn't be correct because you don't have enough citation information, in which case you'll get your little flag here, and you can just click on this to complete the metadata as needed. So that's our all references section. And now we kind of drill down into kind of organizing these references a little bit more. So we have a reading list section, which is basically just a kind of separate project, as it were, that you can section references off for further reading. It's like, I'm interested in reading this, so I don't have time right now. Let's just throw it in the reading list for further consideration. And you can add and remove things to the reading list simply by clicking on the blue book icon here. So that was already in my reading list. Add that one. Go back to our reading list. There we go. It appears there, and you can remove it again by clicking the same book icon. So that's a reading list. It's quite straightforward. We also have private and shared projects. Now, these are the main way that you're going to be organizing your references within Sciwheel. So I'll go through private projects very briefly. In our projects, you can see if I just choose this cell project, we have a few different tabs. So we have the references, obviously where our references live. At this point, I will actually highlight that we have a couple of different view modes. So here we're viewing what is called list mode. So kind of bigger reference cards, a bit more information. Excuse me, I need to click on that one. So large reference cards, bit of information. You can expand the abstract to view that should you need to. Just from there, we'll give you a bit of information about the reference. We can also switch to what we call table view, which gives you a little bit more detail. So you can see it fits a few more references on screen. We can also collapse this side panel to give you a little bit more screen real estate to work with as well. The title, the headings along here, if you click on them, you can kind of sort references either ascending or descending by clicking on these, and you can choose which fields to show or not show from this section here with this particular view mode. So I'll just switch back to list mode. So we do offer a couple of different modes to help you kind of find the right information as quickly as possible when you need it. We also have both simple search with this little search bar up the top. And if you click this little arrow, there's a more advanced search here where you can kind of combine sort of Boolean operators to really drill down and find the references you need when you need them. So that's the basic overview of private projects. We'll just go through a couple more tabs, just expand this again. So we also have a suggestions tab. Now, this is something Joel touched on earlier with the kind of discovery aspect of Sciwheel. So what this does is it uses a very clever little algorithm that will analyze keywords from the title and abstract and everything for all of the references in this particular project. And then it will generate suggestions that are relevant for what it finds, for what the algorithm discovers. And this is trainable as well. So it'll give you a list of references that the algorithm has detected is relevant for the research in this particular project. And you can train it to be more accurate by either adding or dismissing these references as well. So the more you interact with these suggestions, the more relevant the suggestions will become. So that's one way we try and make it sort of easy for you to kind of search through or kind of filter down through that almost overwhelming kind of ocean of references out there to try and find the ones that you really, really need and are interested in and are relevant for your research. We also have a notes section here. So this will be notes and highlights I will get into a little bit later, but this is a collection of where all the notes and highlights you've made in references in this project. That's where they live. You can easily access them from this section as well. And there's a manuscript
Chris,
section. Yes.
Can you go a bit slower, because I think some people have problems with bandwidth, so we get
my apologies. Okay, I shall go a little bit more slowly then. No worries. Okay, so that's a general overview of private projects. I'll touch now on shared projects, which are basically the same thing, just with some extra functionality included. So we'll go to a shared project down here. We'll pick this one. The interface is pretty much the same. The only difference is there's an activity section here, which I'll show you in a minute. The main difference between private and shared projects is anyone who's a member of a shared project has full access to everything inside the project. So all of the references, any PDFs attached to the references, tags, highlights, notes, everything in the project, everyone that's a member of a shared project has access to. So that way, we're really trying to kind of remove those barriers and help people kind of collaborate a lot more efficiently and easily and quickly amongst each other when working on collaborative projects. So that's a quick sort of whistle-stop tour of the main project interface. And I'm going to go into tagging briefly. You can see I have a couple of different tags here. There's an example of a private and a shared tag. So these are used as an extra kind of level of organization within Sciwheel. So in Sciwheel, we deal with parent projects and sub-projects. We don't have any other kind of levels of project underneath that. So we can use tags to kind of further organize things underneath our sub-project kind of tier in place of kind of some sub-projects and that nested sub-project kind of thing. So yeah, tags can either be private or shared. Quite self-explanatory. If they're private, only you can see them and filter with them. Shared tags belong to the shared project in which they were created and can be used by everyone in the project to help filter their references. And the tags live underneath the project. So here's my private tags here. You can filter references by a tag simply by clicking on the tag here. So that brings up this one tagged with our private tag. Shared tags will only appear when you have the project selected. So this is our COVID project here. These are our shared tags. And again, you just click on it to bring up the selected tags. So in this way, we try and make it quite quick and easy for people to add references and collaborate with each other and organize references. So now I'm going to switch over and show you our browser extension, which is a little tool that is very, very handy for importing references and PDFs from the web and also for annotating and highlighting. So I'll just show you quickly how that's going to work. Actually, before I do that, one very important thing that I will point out about the Sciwheel website, down on the bottom right here, this is our customer support portal. So if you get stuck at any point, you have any questions about how to use Sciwheel, please make use of this chat. It's generally me monitoring the inbox, and I'll answer you as quickly as I possibly can. We also have a kind of self-help thing with all self-help articles, in case you can just browse kind of how-to guides and things like that. And we also have a YouTube channel and a playlist that I think we'll provide a link for, with a bunch of kind of how-to videos to get you started and onboarded and working with Sciwheel as well. So now I'll switch over to our browser extension, which can be installed from this little tools menu here. This tools menu here is where you can find all of our tools. So we're seeing it saying Chrome extension here because it's detected I'm on the Chrome browser. It's available for all major browsers, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, and Edge. Also, where you can install our Word add-in and Google Docs add-on from this tools menu as well. I already have the browser extension installed, as we can see here. If you don't, there will be a big install button. Since I have it installed, it will appear next to the address bar on the top right-hand side around here for every browser except Safari. If you work with Safari, you'll see the icon more on the left-hand side here. So I'm now going to go to the PLOS website and just import some references. I've done a little search here for climate change, and you can see that our Sciwheel browser extension is showing 15, which means it's detected 15 references with either a DOI or PMID that we can import from this page. And so we just click on the little icon here, and it gives you a rundown of the reference titles. You can choose to select them individually or in bulk. I'm just going to select a few here, and you can choose to import to an existing project or your unsorted list, reading list. I'm going to create a new project. So we're going to call this one, oops. I'm going to call this one climate change. So we create the project and we click add, and within a couple of seconds, these references have been added. So if I now go to an individual reference page, so this is an example of how the browser extension will work in a search results page, importing things in bulk. So now if I go to, let's say this reference here, if we go to an individual article page, and show you how that looks. So we're here on an individual article page. Because this is PLOS, these are all open access articles. One thing I will mention about open access is that wherever we detect an open access PDF, we'll try and fetch that and attach it to your reference automatically. So we can see here, there is actually a little include PDF option on the individual article page. With the search results page we imported from before, you won't have that option individually, but we will try and fetch those PDFs where we detect them that they're open access in the background. So we're adding this to our little climate change project as well. We're including the PDF. This has been added. Now, one thing I'd like to show you as well, which is another very handy way of finding kind of the right references that are relevant for your research, is this show cited articles section. So say I'm reading through this article, I'm like, this is a fantastic article, but I'm really, really interested in these references that are cited in the article. So our browser extension allows you to import those as well, where we detect a DOI or PMID. In this one, we didn't actually find that. But in most other examples, you will be able to import those PDFs as well. So if we go back to our Sciwheel site now, change, we're all good. Okay, so I've created my climate change private project. These are the references that I've imported using a browser extension. You can see automatically that they've come in with full metadata because we've detected the DOI or PMID. So full complete metadata, because they were all open access, we've got the PDFs automatically as well. So they're all available to you. So what I'd like to do now is use the browser extension to make some highlights and notes. Now this will work both on the kind of the HTML page that I showed you here, will work pretty much any journal website, or you can do it directly on the PDF, which is what I will show you now. So I'm just going to open a PDF here. And to highlight and make notes, very, very simple and easy. It's just highlighting as you would any other piece of text. Drag your cursor across. You'll see a little Sciwheel icon pop up here. And we can add a note. In this case, I'm wondering if we might want to cite this particular passage in the intro of the document that I'll be working on with Joao a little bit later down the track. So I'm just going to put a little note here and change the color of the highlight and click save. And so this has now been saved to my Sciwheel account and can be accessed both from the reference detail page here, that's our note here, and also from our project. So if I go back to our climate change project, in the notes section here, you'll see that's where our note appears. So that's very, very quick highlighting and making notes. The next thing I want to do is share this project because I'm actually working on a paper with Joao at the moment. We're working on a collaborative manuscript, and we want to get a bit of a conversation going around various articles, how we're going to arrange things. We need to have a shared reference list that we can both cite from. So the best way to do that, and one of the things we're most proud of at Sciwheel, is the collaborative aspect, which we do via shared projects. So I'm just going to share this project with Joao now, which I do by clicking this little options icon here. I'll click share project. Let's move my little Zoom window out the way, and we'll just invite Joao. And so when I click invite, Joao will get an email notification, and he'll also see that in the Sciwheel website, which he will show you in just a minute. So I will hand over to Joao now to show you how things look from his side, accepting the project and doing a bit of kind of collaborative work.
Cool. Thank you, Chris. Let me get the screen. Okay. Okay, cool. Can you see it? Perfect. So as you can see here, this is my Sciwheel. This is my dashboard. These are the projects I'm working in. And this is the invitation that I received just now from Chris. Chris invited you to join the project Climate Change. And if you are in any of the other tabs, you'd see here. You can see also, and you can accept from either side. So I'll show this. And also you receive an email as well. So if you're not going to the Sciwheel every day, you get an email in your inbox, and from there you can accept the invitation. I see here, I said, okay, it's only Chris. If those other members, they'll be listed here. I can, so, sorry. Something, sorry. Okay, things was in front of me, the accept button with the window was in front of the accept, you click accept, and done. Navigates to the project. It's now added to my share project. I have a lot of projects that's added here, and I have all my references. And because we work together means that here now both of us can add references, add notes, and work together. So for example, we are writing a project about climate change and the impact on health. I'm the health expert. I use a database. I did a change for climate change health, and they have articles here. So I can just go here as Chris showed it, select these two. Yeah, with our project, calls. Oops, sorry. My share projects. Climate change, select it. I can add it. So I can add also my reference to the project. And when I go back to the project, then 2 items added, says here, refresh, and they are here. So that's the thing. So that's what browser extension, the browser extension that Chris showed is the way. So we don't search inside of Sciwheel for external sources. It's just because the search is much better in the other database. So search there, use the browser extension to bring things in. And everybody in the share group can do it. Here I have tags. I add this tag, top trending, I add this tag now. So these articles now are tagged for me because I like to have my own system of tagging them. But because I'm working with Chris, I say, okay, also need to communicate with him. You can see it here when I create this tag. This is a shared tag. So these 2 tags are personal, only I see it. So I can do whatever I want. And then because we work together, we create tags that both me and Chris can do it. And like this, I can, okay, tag this one as well. Oh, this is more formatted. Add the tag and here. And now when Chris can show you, if you can just select what I want, select for 2. Oh, there's not with 2. There's now. And that's it, found the articles that you want. So this is the way that, as Chris was showing, that you have the project, you have the tags, you can match them together. So to find the reference, so you don't never miss a reference. And again, if you want to search it for any word that's in the climate change. That's in the references, you find them. Of course, it's a very generic, it's everything there. So, and the other thing is, I have access to everything, to the suggestions. I can interact with suggestions if I want, so we can both go through everything suggested and improve them and get new articles, and the notes. So here the notes, so here to something that Chris did it. I want to see it. I click it, he opens the article. Oh, and it's here the note. So I can see what Chris found important, and he wrote the comment, and I can say, yeah, I agree. I keep reading. Oh, this is also really good. But I use another color, and I say, and that's it. We add it. And if I go back now to my and refresh this to the project, now both are here. And you can see, so they're from the same article. So I click here, I go to the article, I see the notes. And now Chris added this. Okay. No, this is me actually. Chris added this one. I can reply, yes, definitely. And you can have a conversation and discussion offline about the notes. So we'll get discussing the references that we want to use it in our project. And Chris can reply to me, and they can go back and forth. And so we bring the discussion inside of the article. I think that's it. Anything else that I forgot to mention, Chris?
About shared projects? No, I think that pretty much covers it. Yeah.
So I'll give it back to you. Stop sharing it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. So hopefully that's kind of given a demonstration. Apologies for the speed of this webinar. There have been a couple of comments that I've been going too fast. I apologize for that. So hopefully you've got a bit of an overview of how Sciwheel can be used to kind of import and organize references and for collaborative purposes. So now we want to switch over to the kind of the manuscript writing section of things. So Joao and I have been busy on the Sciwheel website. We've been importing articles, we've been highlighting, we've been annotating, been adding tags. And so now we're getting to the stage where we want to start writing our manuscript. And we have a couple of different tools that let you do that. We have one for Microsoft Word and one for Google Docs as well. Both of these tools are cross-compatible. So citations you insert using our Google Docs example, a Google Docs citation tool will also be compatible. If you then download that as a docx, open it up in Word, you can then use our Word add-in, and it should be fairly seamless. So again, it's kind of another way we're trying to sort of remove those kind of pain points to collaborative work and to productivity as well. So for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to show you our Word add-in. As I say, it's very similar to Google Docs, so the functionality is the same, the citations are compatible, the UI is very similar as well, so there's not much difference between the two. So I'm just going to switch over to my Word document here. Hopefully you can all see that. So this is a very, 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 very basic document. We're just in the earliest stages of writing our manuscript at the moment, so we don't really have much in the way of content. But what we want to do is just start getting a few citations in there, discussing a few kind of potential things that we might want to kind of put in or further discussion, things like that. So I'm going to show you our Sciwheel Word add-in, which supports all of these things. So the add-in can be installed from the tools menu in the Sciwheel site that I showed you before, but you can also install it directly from within Word from this insert menu here. Depending on your Word version, the user interface might be a bit different, but it's always the insert tab and either my add-ins or get add-ins to connect to the Microsoft Store, and then just search for Sciwheel, and that will give you the Word add-in. So when you have it installed, it will appear as a Sciwheel tab here, which you can see. Clicking on that opens up our little Sciwheel ribbon with a few different options. So I'm just going to choose Insert Citation for the moment, just to kind of demonstrate some of the basic functionality. So let's say, for example, I want to insert a citation at this point in my document where my cursor is. So I just click Insert Citation. It opens up our side panel. And you can see here, we can search for references. You can filter by project or tag. In this case, I'm just going to filter by the climate change project that I have shared with Joao, because that's generally with collaborative work, we kind of recommend that everyone just works from the same shared project. It just makes things a lot more streamlined because everyone just goes to the one place for everything they need. So I selected my climate change project that I'm sharing with Joao here. So these are all the references that we're considering citing in this particular document. Just as an example of a citation, I'm going to insert this particular one. With the results we have down here, you can expand the abstract to view more information. Clicking the open button will take you to the reference in whichever journal site or database it was imported from, so you can view the full text if you have it available. But in this case, I'm just going to click the Cite button, and what we'll see is that now we'll insert a citation here in its, we call it kind of an unformatted format, as it were. So it's a kind of default author date format, just so you can see that you've inserted the right reference straight up. We haven't created a bibliography just yet, but I'll get into that in just a minute. So that's how to basically insert a citation. If I wanted to insert a kind of group citation, I just need to make sure that my cursor is inside this first citation here. And we can see that it appears as a gray bar down the bottom. That means this citation has been selected and we can perform actions with it. So we can now cite another reference, which will add it to that citation group, just like that. So those have popped up now, and you can also expand these gray bars to give you various options for editing your citations as well. If you want to put a page number in the suffix field, for example, or if you're using a more author date style, there are for kind of APA specific formatting, there's a kind of display as author year, a few different options for displaying your citations in this little edit citation option here, which can be expanded and contracted just with these gray bars. So now I've inserted a couple of citations. I just want to create a bibliography just so I can see how that looks. So to do that, we click our Format Citations and Bibliography button here. And then we choose a style. I've got this style selected by default, but I want to choose a different style. So there are a whole bunch of default styles here. I'm actually interested in the National Library of Medicine grant proposal style because one of the purposes we want to use this document for is a grant proposal. So I'm going to search for grant with the correct spelling. And this little style pops up here. Now, it says in the description, it's for grant proposals. It will display the PMC ID and PMID in the bibliography, which is exactly what we need. It's fantastic. Select the style, click Add. And we just click Update Citations and Bibliography. And look at that. Okay, so now we have our citations inserted. It's difficult to see because there's superscript numbers here. So we have our citations inserted, formatted according to the submission guidelines for the NLM grant proposals. And we've created our bibliography, which has quite strange font because that was kind of programmed into the document from before, but we can very quickly just change this back to the default. Great, so we have inserted some citations, we've created our bibliography. We can see that both the citations and bibliography conform to the submission guidelines for wherever we're submitting to. There was a comment in the Mentimeter about different citation styles, a couple of different comments, so I'll go through those. So you can very, very quickly switch between styles quickly and seamlessly. Nothing really needs to be done apart from selecting a different style. So say I now want to submit this to Science Journal, for example, we can just select the Science style, get a rundown of how it looks, and we update. And that will just do its thing. So now it will change the format of the citations and the bibliography to conform to the submission guidelines for Science Journal. So in this way, we try and make it sort of quite quick and seamless, to find the right references when you need them, and to take all the kind of the pain out of formatting your citations and bibliography. So in terms of the numeric styles, as this one is, the numbers will be ordered automatically. The formatting of the bibliography will be standardized. So it's just a quick way to do all the annoying things that you would rather not do. So this will take the pain out of it and allow you to spend more time working on the actual content of the document rather than worrying about annoying little finicky things like formatting. So I'll just show you a few extra features. Going along with the kind of more discovery aspect of Sciwheel now. So let's say, for example, I would like to insert a citation at the end of this paragraph, but I'm not sure which citation I need. I'm not sure if it exists in my library. It might not. We do have a handy little feature here called Smart Citations, which works on a very similar algorithm to the article suggestions we were displaying in the website before. So we'll analyze either a selected section of text or text preceding your cursor and suggest relevant references for you to cite in that section. So we just click Get Smart Citations. It will analyze this paragraph and return references. So it will query both the Crossref and PubMed databases, and it will give us relevant results. So it's analyzed this. We can see all of the results are kind of relating to the text that it's detected here. So it's a really, really good way of very quickly finding relevant references that you can just cite and save quickly and easily. So we'll cite that one. You can see here that that's now inserted that as that kind of default author date format, and it hasn't been added to the bibliography yet. That's a feature of this add-in. It doesn't do that automatically. You need to click the Format Citations and Bibliography button to kind of get that in the right format and add it to the bibliography. So generally, we recommend just kind of inserting some citations and formatting them just in bulk, so you don't have to do it too much and too often. So that's our Smart Citations, a very handy way of finding the right references. Now I'd like to show you our project references and notes. So because we're in the kind of early stages of this writing project, what we'd like to do is bring some of the highlights and notes we made in the Sciwheel site into this document so we can have a bit of a discussion, kind of flesh out ideas. So we click our project references and notes, we select our project. So this is our climate change shared project. And it gives us a rundown of the notes and highlights we made in this document. So in this one, we were kind of discussing whether or not to include this in the intro. So just in here, I'm going to insert this for further discussion. And so what that then does, as you can see, it will insert the text of the note that I've made, and insert the text that you've highlighted, and also insert the citation at the end. So it's a very quick way of getting your kind of important passages that you want to refer back to or further discussion into a kind of a rough draft document. The last thing I would like to show you regarding searching and citing references in our Insert Citations menu is you can search and cite both from the references you've saved to your Sciwheel library and also from PubMed. So there's a direct search and cite from using climate's probably not the best might to use in PubMed, but you can search and cite directly from PubMed, which saves you from even having to leave Word if you're kind of doing things that are more kind of life science based. So those are the essentials of our Word add-in for citing. As I said, we do have a Google Docs add-on that works in much the same way as well. And that brings us really to the end of the demo part of this. So thank you all very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Chris and Joao, for giving us that run through. I think we'll get to a couple of questions. We've got time for a few of them. I think the main question, sorry, I'll start my video. I think the main question people have is to do with compatibility with other referencing and citation sort of tools. So Zotero was mentioned, Mendeley was mentioned, Devon Think and EndNote were also mentioned. So if you could run us through some of the compatibility limitations or advantages, that would be good.
Sure. Do you want to handle that one, Joao, or do you want me to handle that one?
I can talk about this one. So I think I start to write it. And the first thing is, why do you want to move to another reference manager? That's the first thing. But you can. So you can select all the references and you can export as a file that will be easily imported to Mendeley, EndNote, Zotero. So we can do that easily. The other way around, you can, from Zotero and Mendeley, we can easily import all your references to Sciwheel, and that's the thing. So the advantage of Sciwheel, it's as I hope you notice here, is it's really the browser extension is really powerful. It's so easy to add it. The add-in in Word and Google Docs, it allows you to work with both of them and move from one to the other, mainly if you work with collaborators. And all the collaboration tools, all the easy organization. So, and it's very easy to use it. So yeah. So I think that's I don't know, Chris, if you want to add something else.
Yeah, I might just go into a tiny bit more detail and just share my screen again and show where you would do that from. So just a quick bit on importing from other reference managers. So if I go to my Sciwheel site, move all the windows out of the way. Okay, so in our import references menu here, we do have an other reference managers section. So the options are Mendeley, Zotero, Endnote, and others. With Mendeley and Zotero, we do have kind of direct integrations with them via an API that they provide, which means you can basically import everything directly from Mendeley and Zotero, kind of maintaining your folder structure, including all the PDFs and everything inside both of those. So it's very, very quick and easy to import from either of those. For Endnote and other reference managers, generally, we don't have a direct integration, which means you have to export either like a RIS or BibTeX file from that program and then import it into Sciwheel from that section there. So in terms of importing from other reference managers, we make it as kind of quick and easy as we possibly can. In terms of exporting, there are a bunch of export options. This master checkbox is very, very handy to kind of bulk select things. And then we have a little icon here, which gives you a bunch of options. You can export as a RIS, a BibTeX, or CSV. If you wanted to export these references to import into another reference manager, most other reference managers will accept either RIS or BibTeX as kind of valid import formats. So you can do it that way. In terms of integrations with citation tools, unfortunately, they're all quite sort of proprietary and they work in different ways. So we don't have any kind of direct compatibility between Sciwheel citations and other reference manager citations. Yeah, that's something we can't offer at the moment, unfortunately. So hopefully that clears things up a little bit for you.
Great. I think the next question that got a couple of likes was to do with the algorithm. So does it consider the reputation of journals when it suggests readings?
João, over to you.
Shall I take this? Yeah, I can take it. So no, so currently it doesn't. So the reason we don't. So I know there's again, it's a lot of things proprietary as well. So each how to say, publisher or database have their own ways of classifying. So I know PubMed, for example, they don't accept all the articles. I know that Web of Science, there's some also articles that they journals consider predatory, and Scopes as well. I think it's something like that. So they have a list. So we don't do it. And the reason is because when you're doing research, you want to know everything about the subject, and if you already know about, and everything's published, and if you already if you know already about your project, reading it, you can distinguish if they're predatory or not, if the science is good or not, the quality of the science. So we'll let you to judge. Saying that's something we're looking, not about only give you citation suggestions from a set of journals, because also doesn't mean that because an article is published in Nature will not be retracted in a couple of years or it's good quality. There's not a correlation. But what we want to do is just getting a way that we can flag it, say, okay, this article was actually retracted. We want to do that. That's something that's in our plan. And if it's a predatory journal, we just put a question mark, say, look, read it, but be aware that it's a predatory journal. The science could be really good, the research could be amazing, but the journal is not sound. So that's yeah.
Great, thank you. I think we have time for one more quick question. So Tabisa asks, does this not lead to plagiarism? So I don't know if you want to address that question quickly.
I can address that. And sorry, so this is why we really talk quite fast, because there's a lot of things that we want to go through. So no, because so as you see it, so the notes, for example, the notes that you can insert it in the document, it's more for you read it something, and when you insert in the document, it gets there the citation. So you're citing something. That's why it is between question marks. So you can do that. You can, if you put question marks and put the citation, it's not plagiarism because you're giving credit to the source. That's one thing. So that doesn't I think that it will be quite safe with that. Again, in some topics, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to put in question marks, but you have the text there, and you should be aware of that, and you just rewrite in your own words, and you remember, okay, this is what I mean. I want to say it. How can I say it differently? With the smart suggestions, this is a lot of times it's that I read this about in an article, but I can't find it, and this allows you to find the article. But you always, even if it's not the article you want, there's the abstract there, and there's a link to the full text. You always should read the full text. It's just a help. It's not that you blindly cite something. It's just to help you to find the right articles. So we hope it doesn't lead to plagiarism, because the citation is there.
Great. Thanks for that. I think that about brings us to time. So thank you so much, Joao and Chris. If any of our participants have questions following up on this, feel free to send them through to me. I think you have my email address. It's danielle.nemeth@sagepub.co.uk. I can pop that in the chat quickly as well for you, just so you have it. But feel free to send through questions if you have. We will be sending around the blog post and the YouTube video afterward as well to all the registrants. So feel free to catch up in your own time again. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a nice day. And for those who are celebrating Thanksgiving, enjoy that as well. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.